Hello and you're very welcome to another JMac podcast. I'm Jogman, and of course this podcast is brought to you by orgarich.com and Atak.ie. Use the promo code JMac podcast to get 15% off on orgarich.com and get the best skins, gloves, equipment on Atak.ie. Be Attack minded. Thanks for liking what you've seen. Like, subscribe to YouTube. Support been absolutely brilliant so far. And tonight I'm joined by GA Fan TV host and creator Aaron Prendergast and former Galway footballer Finian Hanley to talk about last weekend's championship action and of course this weekend's championship action, lads. I'll start off with yourself, Finian. How are you keeping?
Good, Johnny. Good, all good. Yeah, another good day for our lads yesterday. So in hurling, so we're enjoying a rich vein of form down here. We've another 3 home games coming in the next 3 weeks. So yeah, so all is good. All is good.
Happy days, happy days. No, it's good times for the Galway County indeed. Aaron, how are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm doing good, John. Not doing too bad. I suppose nice to see the Dubs back winning all the rest, even if it is just Wexford. But no, look, it was a great performance, great win, and yeah, on to Meath now.
Ooh. Will we see a classic, Aaron? I know obviously it was decided to be playing Croke Park today, and I know people are kind of giving out maybe playing at Navan or I suppose a neutral venue because obviously Meath were kind of pulled out first. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it was always going to be in Croke Park. I don't know why. The Leinster chairperson, whatever his name is, said that it was, you know, that they were thinking of different venues. I'm not too sure. I think it was always going to be in Croke Park, to be honest. Unless Westmeath got Dublin, maybe they were thinking then. But then at that, I still think that would be in Croke Park as well. So I think they just kind of walked themselves into that one. But yeah, look, I mean, I don't know. Like, I actually think Meath would probably be the easiest game on paper for Dublin, really. I know people might look at Westmeath as the easiest game on paper, but the way Westmeath set up, like they usually make life tough, you know, they're quite a defensive team at times, and they would have been coming in with no pressure whatsoever. Whereas when you look at Dublin's record against Meath in the last, you know, 5-6 years, we've put some awful batterings into them, really. The first half against Meath last year, only difference is Meath will take a bit of confidence from that performance against Dublin, like in the last sort of 10 minutes or so when they brought it back to a 3-point game. So it'll be an interesting game, make no mistake about it, but you would still definitely have to fancy Dublin quite clearly at this time anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I think that'd be the knowledge going into that one. I suppose we can continue on with the Dubs. We move on to Saturday's action in the Leinster Senior Football Championship quarter-final in Chadwick's Wexford Park. It was Dublin 124. Wexford 4 points, Aaron. You know, a very, very convincing win for Daisy Farrell's men. Conor Gallen's back. I think kicked 1-6. Very impressive performance for him. Brian Fenton flew at midfield. So the Jacks are back, baby.
Yeah, look, it was a great win. I mean, you don't want to get too carried away, you know, at the same time.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I don't know, but look, I don't think Dublin were ever out of the running. Like, as I was saying off air there, you know, like it'd be foolish really to write Dublin off in terms of the All-Ireland Football Championship. You know, I think they're definitely in the top 2-3 teams. There's definitely still a lot to work on, and when they come up against, you know, higher quality opposition, maybe there's a few issues defensively. There's a couple, you know, I'm not too sure what's going on with the goalkeeper. Desi Farrell seems to be making a lot of changes around that. It's Evan Comerford 1 week now, David O'Hanlon. So he doesn't quite seem sure really at the back. But look, it was a commanding performance. They were dominant obviously throughout the game, but you were watching this game really, and you could just see the difference really between the two teams in terms of, you know, physicality, conditioning wise, the way Dublin were moving the ball. It was just night and day really. And like for Wexford, they tried, they made, you know, they put in as good as an effort as I suppose they could have. I'm sure they would have felt that they could have played a little bit better, but it was very good from Dublin. And I think the two main things, one of them, as you said there, like Con O'Callaghan back in the team, you know, 1-5 in the second half. He was absolutely brilliant. Just completely changes the Dublin side because they're able to kick more into him and sort of bring more variation to their play, rather than when I was watching them against Kildare and you know, some of the games before that against Armagh, Kerry, it just felt like we were running the ball too much and there wasn't enough variation, not enough kick passing, just very sort of bland, boring football. So yeah, very, very exciting stuff. Owen Merchant being back as well. Like, I think he's a big player to come back into the team. Hopefully he stays fit because he's had a lot of injury problems in the last sort of couple of years. But Robbie McDade back. So yeah, like I'd say like we've more or less our best starting 15 back, and if we can keep all of them fit, we definitely have a chance. But Still be worried a little bit with a few defensive issues. Obviously, we didn't see that against Wexford, but against Meath and possibly Kildare, and then further on, be interesting to see if Dublin can get things right defensively, because 11 goals conceded in the league certainly wasn't up to the standards of what you'd normally see with Dublin, but definitely steps in the right direction anyways.
Yeah, definitely. Finian, what about yourself? Dublin's display on Saturday, and I suppose they're really working and rallying at the end, but look, this really wasn't a contest.
No, it wasn't, John, and it wasn't expected to be either. Look, it was a hard watch. I watched a lot of it, but it's very tough. Like it's I suppose we don't want to get into the politics of GA and all this sort of stuff, but those two teams shouldn't be playing each other at this stage. Like, it's live on Sky Sports. Christ on a bike. Anyone saw it? Like, it's just anyone.
Great advertising for the GA, Finian.
Oh, Christ above. Wexford, like, Jesus, they were huffing and puffing there. Like, there was absolutely no hope. Ben Brosnan, like, you felt sorry for him. But look, you read nothing into it. I get a run out for the lads. A nice handy run out, 1-6 in Con, and Fenton back scoring points and tipping along as Aaron said there. The likes of Merchant. I suppose, look, Dublin, they're definitely not gone away. The bench isn't as strong as it was, but like those games are great for the likes of Lurkin O'Dell and these guys to come on and get a championship outing against a team. The game is inevitable, so they can get a feel for it. It's not as intense. It'll be more intense next week against Meath, but they still should take care of them. But Saturday night was just a challenge match. They'll have busier AVBs in Dublin than when they will have that. So I felt sorry for Wexford. They shouldn't be put in that position, but Dublin will be there and thereabouts. Kildare are very impressive though yesterday as well against a decent Louth team. They put them away. I know we'll get onto it, but so I think Dublin and Kildare, if both of them are in the final, will be the first interesting Leinster final in a long time. So, but look, Dublin, business as usual, and they won't take much from it, I'm sure, but they'll get a run out for the newer lads,
Definitely. I suppose last thing on that, it's probably from a GA supporter point of view, and definitely from a Dublin point of view, Finian, King Khan is back.
He is. He's a handful and a half. He's he doesn't look like Colin McShane, or he was quite a slight lad when he started out. But Christ above, he's got everything. Like his agility, like the point he scored when he went round one or two defenders and then he cut inside again. The quick feet, his his reactions, everything, and he looks really motivated as well. So the break, and there was a lot of talk around him as well. So that's obviously done him well, and obviously done the camp well, that he's flying it. He looks hungry for the team as well, so there doesn't seem to be any issues there. I know there was rumours going around that he might go to hurling and this, that and the other, but no, look, he's a serious focal point for them to have. Look, the mainstays are there: Con, Kieran Kilkenny, Cormac Costa was quite good again, Dean kicking points, solid on frees, all sorts of stuff. The goalie's a bit of an issue, as Aaron says. Obviously we thought Evan Comfort was the man to replace Cluxton, but there's chopping and changing going there, which isn't very Dublin-like. So look, Conor Callahan says Dublin have a serious chance.
Yeah, Finian, I think that's all the analysis in that game. that's all said and done, lads. And moving on to the other game in the Leinster Championship on Saturday, we had Westmeath 3-13, Longford 14 points, and Aaron, a very convincing win for John Heslin and Westmeath, and I suppose blow off the shackles and get a good result like that in Leinster. They badly needed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And after being beaten by Longford in the National Football League in Division 3, I'm sure they definitely would have wanted to come into this and right the wrong of obviously what happened in that Longford game. And as you said before, with Westmeath, they've obviously had a very inconsistent National Football League. I think a lot of people.
And you family up there.
I do. Yeah, I have a few family members up there, and I'm sure they were absolutely buzzing to get this victory over Longford, even though half of them don't even watch Gaelic football. But there's probably a reason for it, to be fair. But But no, look, it was a good win. You know, John Heslin with 1-5, Alex Gardner with 3 points, and they were comfortable enough throughout the majority of the game. Longford rallied quite well. Like they kicked I think 6 or 7 points without reply going into the final 10 minutes. But you know, Westmeath had already sort of done the good business by there. And look, they'll go into the semi-finals against Kildare. They probably should have beat Kildare last year. Like there was only 2 points in that. On another day, they could have come out with a victory. Kildare have certainly improved quite a lot since then. But look, big win for Westmeath, and you know, it'll be interesting to see how they get on against Kildare.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to the Munster Senior Football Championship quarter-final in Cusack Park, Ennis. You had Limerick 2-16, Clare 1-19 after extra time, and then Limerick won 4-1 on penalties, Finian. So is that going to be something we're going to see for the rest of the summer? Penalty shootouts and winners by that?
Hopefully. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
I suppose, look, I'm on the other side now where I get to be a supporter and get to see the crack, and I was looking forward to seeing that in the Sunday game last night. I was delighted that Limerick won.
Good to see they showed it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. So, it opens it up a bit. It was great. Like Limerick are a team that have put in serious work over the last 5 or 6 years under Billy Ryan. You know, really put their shoulder to the wheel. So, like, you know, you like to see a team like that progressing and actually getting that. That's a big win for Limerick yesterday. Massive for their footballers. You know, given what their hurlers are doing and stuff like that. And Clare have obviously been, you know, playing really well the last number of years. Division 2 nearly got to Division 1 a couple of times. So it was a big win. The penalties were great. It was great crack, really. You know, it was a real entertaining derby. It wasn't on TV or anything like that, but I suppose who's to know it was going to be as tight as it was. But no, it was thoroughly entertaining, and I think penalty shootouts are a great way of deciding the game. You know, it's great for the supporters. I think once the players buy into it, there's no reason why it shouldn't be there. So really entertaining. I was delighted to see Limerick win, and you know, they'll push on with a bit of confidence into a semi-final now. I don't see them shying away from the big challenge, and I think, you know, a Munster final would be excellent for them. Now, look, what happens in that is another story, but another win under their belt, and they're seriously flying it.
Definitely are. And moved on to the other game in the Munster Championship in Fairfield. You had Tipperary 2-13, Waterford 1-8, and Aaron, very convincing win for Tipperary. They were looking into getting a big result. They got the big result, and in fairness, a good performance after an up and down sort of league, but they'll be happy to get that championship win, no doubt.
Ah, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, they'll be delighted to get that victory. I mean, they drew with Waterford in the league on the opening day. So I'm sure maybe Waterford would have took some confidence maybe coming into that. But look, I mean, the result was really what you expected. Like, Waterford obviously finished bottom of Division 4. You'd expect Tipperary to come through this quite comfortably, and I think for David Power, I'd be happy enough to have obviously brought through players like Mikey O'Shea and obviously Mark Russell and a few other lads coming in there to, I suppose, make up for the absence of Mickey Quinlivan and a few other players. And just getting back to when you were speaking about the Clare and Limerick game, like the fact that wasn't shown on Sky Sports, in my opinion, was a bit of a joke, really. Like, it was on the exact
games they showed. God, it was
it was on the exact same time as the Wexford versus Dublin game. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, I think if that Clare and Limerick game was on, everyone would have been watching it. Everyone would have been talking about it. Like, I remember when, I think it was Tralee and the Tyrone Senior Football Championship went to penalties a couple of years ago on TG Cahir, and loads of people tuned in to it just for the penalty shootout. So, crazy really. But yeah, nonetheless, good win for Tipperary and for Limerick there as well.
Yeah, definitely was. And moving on to the Connacht Championship in Markievicz Park, you had Roscommon 23 points, Sligo 11 points, and Finian, very convincing win for Anthony Cunningham's men. They would have been targeting that game. Sligo, you know, just about got over the line against New York the last out. I know probably, you know, they're probably in disarray up in Sligo with obviously Red Oak Murphy's death in bits and pieces, so it's tough going up there. But look, Anthony Cunningham got a very convincing win there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no, I suppose that's one that Galway people were watching with interest. Obviously, look, you know, Roscommon are always going to win that game. Sligo just struggling for players at the minute, struggling for quality, trying to replace a lot of players, and, you know, obviously a bad time up there as well. So it's tough. It's a tough station. Teams like that really need this second tier. They really need this tiered structure, you know what I mean? And I think they've all voted for it. So hopefully they get it soon enough, because, you know, look, they need to be able to build, and I don't think Sunday is going to build anything in Sligo. Roscommon are a good side. They're a very good side. Look, they're prepared now for kind of final, more than likely against our lads. So there's been a lot of great battles over the last couple of years. You know, they've been, you know, nip and tuck, Connacht finals, FBD finals in the league. They've just been, you know, one wins one time, you know, other wins another time. So it's very interesting. I think Roscommon have really improved this year. Like, they have a lot of good attacking options, really good attacking options. Colleen, super player. We saw him in the Sigerson. He was man of the match in the final. Kieran Murta, you know, is back at wing forward. Like, if you're two wing forwards or those two players, it kind of says a lot about the team, you know. They're not workhorses. They're out and out scorers, you know. So and obviously you've got Enda Smith then in the middle, and Donald, you know, Donald Murta to come on, or Jeremy Murta to come on. So look, they're very, very, very strong this year, Roscommon, and they worry me a bit over the next couple of weeks. They do, I must say. They don't fear Pearse Stadium either. I'd actually prefer if that game was in the High, to be honest. I think we'd get a bit more bite, but there should be a backlash in our lads. But look, they were very convincing winners. There was, you know, it was nothing really that Pádraig Joyce and the lads are going to learn from that game that he doesn't know already from playing them. He probably learned more from the league final. But look, convincing win, big score kicked, and Anthony Cunningham will be delighted where they are at this moment in time. But look, you know, massive game for Roscommon too. If they can get a win over Galway, it really cements their place probably ahead of Galway in the pecking order in Connacht, really, if they can get that win. But hopefully they don't.
100%. And moving on to the Ulster Senior Football Championship quarter-final that took place in Clonus. It was Monaghan 23 points, down to 7 an hour. And I suppose, look, Down made a game of it maybe in the second half to a degree, but look, Monaghan probably always were going to win. And Caelan Mooney really tried to get the show on the road. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for him. Mr. Jack McCarron got man of the match, but routine victory for Banty McEnany's men.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose you hit the nail on the head there. Like, Down, they showed a bit of fight, I suppose, at the start of the second half, but the big problem for them is they're just not scoring enough. Like, they were the lowest scorers throughout the entirety of the National Football League, and that was obviously evident to see here as well. Like, finishing with 7 points isn't going to be enough to win you a championship game, even with 2 goals on top of that. So for Monaghan, I think they'll take a lot of confidence from it. I think maybe there was a question mark 3-4 years ago, maybe, or 2-3 years ago, were they over reliant on Conor McManus maybe a little bit, and with him getting older, did they have lads to come in and replace him? But obviously he went off injured, against the Dubs quite early on, and they still came through that game, still won that game. He kicked 4 points against Down, but you're looking at Jack McCarron, who is continuing his brilliant form from that victory over Dublin. He had 7 points in total. Gary Mohan looks like a good addition in a full forward. Seems to be a very good, tall, rangy player, strong as an ox. So, fair play to Monaghan. I mean, look, the result was very much what we expected, as we were saying before, like two games shown on Sky that were very much over as a contest at half-time. There definitely could have been other games they could have shown there, but good win for Monaghan, and them against Derry in the semi-finals. That's going to be a tasty one.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to yesterday's action in the Ulster Senior Football Championship quarter-final in O'Neill Teely Park. You had Derry 118, Tyrone 10 points. A great win for Rory Gallagher's men. Obviously, Fergal Logan and Brian Dewar will be licking their wounds this week and for the next couple of weeks. The next game they're out. A great performance by Derry. They had it all, and Finian, you're still not convinced by them.
Look, to be honest, John, it was a brilliant win for them. Well organised. It wasn't a good spectacle. No, it was a pile of crap really to watch on TV. It was, look, it was. Someone was saying it was exciting. It wasn't. Like, the only thing exciting. Obviously, Derry turned them over, but like Tyrone, I suppose people realise that Tyrone are struggling at the minute. Like, they've lost so many players. To lose 6-year players, and we were saying this.
They might get COVID again as well.
Well, there you go. Like, and I'm not saying I feel sorry for them, but when you lose that many players, and then you've got the Donnellys that are injured and a couple more injured, and they can't cope with that amount of losses. So look, Derry were full value. Obviously, blanket a counter-attacking system is back with the vengeance. Jesus, they were. I was saying at half time, I don't know, can the Derry boys keep this up, running all the way back and trying to get up the pitch again? Like it's
they're fit though. Derry look very fit.
They look very fit. They look very fit, and like that's a serious toll on the body. I think there's a few of them sore today now, in fairness, but they defended in numbers. They had 15 in their own half, you know, which is so hard and frustrating to play against. But their transition was very good. You know, McKinless, like, and they had that focal point at full forward with McGuigan as well. So, no, look, they're improving, definitely improving. That was a huge win for them. And it is a big game now because I suppose Derry Monaghan is a big game now because of the Derry setup. Monaghan will find it hard. They're going to have 2 or 3 in around McManus, Mohan, you know, McCarthy. These boys are going to be, the space is going to be at a premium or at a minimum, sorry. And if you know, Monaghan are going to have to mirror Derry, I'd say, to a little bit, you know, to defend against that sort of system. You kind of have to play like for like and probably flood your own defense as well, and it becomes a chess game then. So it doesn't make for a very entertaining, free-flowing spectacle, but it'd be very interesting. It'd be very tactically, you know, both managements will have to set up really, you know, be very cute in their tactics. So look, it's an interesting game, but fair play to Derry. It was great to see Derry, great football in county. A lot of lunatics in Derry as well. They're GA mad, so it was great to see.
No, definitely. I suppose, Aaron, your take on events that took place yesterday in Healy Park, and obviously Rory Gallagher, in fairness to him, I know the commentators and your man Eamon Fitzmaurice was praising the way he was roaring and shouting during the game. And if there's one thing, lads, if you could just get that hand-spitting habit sorted out. But your take on Mr. Rory Gallagher and Derry.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous for Rory Gallagher when I was seeing that, because I don't know if you remember the German manager Joachim Low and what he was getting up to on the sideline before.
What was he getting up to?
Oh, I'm not gonna. We won't say.
Tell us.
yeah. Let's just say his hands were going somewhere where they probably shouldn't be. At least not on TV. Anyways, put it that way. But yeah, no. Look. As you were saying there, as Finian was saying there, it was a brilliant performance really from Derry, and it actually reminded me a lot of when Donegal beat Dublin in 2014. It was very similar in some ways, like the way they sort of broke with pace and attacked. And yeah, you know, like as you said before, like this Derry team have been coming for a while, but there's a lot of teams sometimes in Gaelic football that like have lots of great players and look like a team that might be up and coming, but then just don't deliver against big teams. So, you know, Armagh are probably an example of that really in the Championship, who, you know, have lots of very good young players and have been knocking on the door for a while, but haven't been able to sort of make that step. So it could be a huge win for Derry in the context of the season, because they won't fear anyone now. And they'll be going in against Monaghan with confidence. And if it was Dublin, Mayo or Kerry who beat Tyrone by 11 points, we'd be talking about them as serious All-Ireland contenders, if not the favourite. So I think Derry definitely can't be overlooked. Obviously, they were playing against 14 men for 45 minutes, so that's a big advantage. But they'll take huge confidence, and the energy and intensity that they played with as well. Like, and obviously Rory Gallagher on the sideline, like the players even looked sort of like Gallagher, like his same energy was there on the pitch, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was interesting.
And Finney, I suppose obviously we were kind of, if we talk 95% bullshit in the group chat anyway, but you're not convinced for Derry to win Ulster? Because like, I just feel, I don't know, like Rory Gallagher, obviously he was part of Jim McGuinness's, you know, All-Ireland winning team. He just looks like he's the man with the plan. He's the plan. Players playing to such a good style and fully committed. So, but you're not convinced?
No, I'm not. No. I'm not yet. No, I'm not yet. Definitely not. I suppose one swallow doesn't make a summer, but it was an ambush and a half. They're well set up. They're well drilled. Like Rory Gallagher is a very good coach. His attention to detail is obviously spot on. You know, so. And everyone knew where they had to be in defence. You know, I said they've laid it out. They've walked through it hundreds of times over the last couple of months. So look, they're well drilled. They have some good players. I just think the quality probably lack a little bit of quality that Donegal or Monaghan have. and maybe that bit of experience. I suppose, like, look at the last 10 or 12 years. There's only 3 teams really outside Cavan that have won the championship in Ulster. There's form there for a reason. Derry had won. That's only their second win in 10 years, I think, in the Ulster Championship. So they won't be. They won't be going from 0 to 60 that quickly, but they'll get there. They're definitely going to build. They've got some good players. Obviously, McGuigan's a fantastic forward for any team to have. Strong. Glass is very good around the middle. Real good. Aussie rules experience. Their range of this is very, very good. So look, they
Chrissy McCaig.
Chrissy McCaig. Look, I played with Chrissy myself, and like an absolute terrier. Like, he does not care. He's no care for anyone. He'll mark anyone, and he'll look down on them as well. He's a great bit of stuff, Chrissy, and he's a brilliant servant for Derry. So it'd be nice for the likes of him to get over the line in Ulster, but I just don't see it. I think the quality in Monaghan and Donegal is superior. I think that's my own opinion.
Yeah, there you go. But even with the likes of Shane McGuigan.
Sorry, I know I'm leaving Cavan out there, but
no, Jesus, no, leave us. Don't worry.
I know you're looking at me with a dirty look there.
No, not. No, not at all. I just think that players you're after naming there, the likes of Chrissy McCaig, Shane McGuigan up front, Ben McKinless, and even the Doherty, the current forward as well. Like, surely that's enough quality to win a championship, Ulster Championship.
Yeah, I suppose the bit of experience that the other teams have, I think, will get them over the line. And I suppose the Ulster Championship has been very poor, so very weak so far. But we don't really know where the other teams are at. Like Donegal, Mauled, Armagh, and Cavan, hammered Andrew. Like, they haven't really. There hasn't been any test yet. So getting to an Ulster semi-final, which are big games. The Ulster semi-finals are big games, and they're pressure cooker, and it's intense. It's physical. The physicality is huge in those two Ulster semi-finals every year. Because you always have really good teams playing in it. So I don't know. Will Derry be fine-tuned enough for a Monaghan? I really like Monaghan this year. I think they're strong all over. Obviously, the goalkeeper makes a huge difference. So, and he will make a huge difference playing against that blanket defence, because he'll be able to add to the press when it comes to kickouts and stuff as well. So I just think it's a bit premature, but I think they're definitely coming. I actually think they're coming more than Armagh. I think they have more quality than Armagh.
Oh yeah, big time.
They have a better purpose about them. They think, I think Derry are more fine-tuned. They have a system.
Better manager too.
I'm not saying that. But I think they have a very defined system, and I think Derry would beat the likes of an Armagh. They'd beat the likes of even a Cavan or anything. I think they're just behind the top 2 or 3.
And surely they can win Ulster.
They're going to win Ulster, and Cavan. They're going to play Cavan. They're going to play Cavan in the final as well.
I was squeezing it out of you there. Oh, you call it, boys.
The way I'm going for this, John, I'd say that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
And Aaron, I suppose to wrap it up in the Derry Tyrone game, where did Tyrone go from here? Like, look, don't get me wrong, it's not panic stations. They can have a run through the back door, get the players recuperated again, but it's worrying signs for Mr. Fergal Logan and BD. Yeah, it's going to be tough for them, all right, going into the qualifiers. You're looking at some of the teams that are going to be in there, and Mayo, Armagh, tough games. Like, it's not going to be an easy route at all back into the quarterfinals, and who knows, they could maybe end up playing Derry again at some stage, maybe through the qualifiers or potentially even further. So it'd be very tough for them. They've obviously got a couple of players still to come back. Obviously Peter Hart played against Derry, but was only recently back from appendix surgery, so you'd expect him to be, I suppose, more sort of match sharp by the time the qualifier game comes around. The good news is they've a lot of time to work on it. Like, I think it's 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month before the first qualifier game. So they've a lot of time, obviously, to work on it. I suppose the disappointing thing is they won't know who they're playing until another 2-3 weeks. So it's going to be hard for them to sort of know who to focus on, who they might be playing. There's a range of different teams they could be coming up against, but look, if there's anything I've ever learned about Tyrone, is you can never write them off. And even going into the qualifiers, with Tyrone, they're they've just been a strange county the past few years. Like, they're one of those teams that when you write them off and when their backs are against the wall, they just have a habit of proving you wrong. And going into those qualifiers, if they can I think the most important thing is the first game. I think they need to get a good draw. But even at that, to be honest, if they got Mayo, I think they beat them. So
you know, I think it'll be an interesting one, keeping an eye on them, I suppose.
Hopefully COVID doesn't hit again, Aaron.
Yeah, well, look, you know, there might be a new variant there or something, you know. Helped them the last time, so.
Oh, there we go. Oh, Tyrone fans are going to be DMing us. And moving on to the Leinster Senior Football Championship quarter-final in Park Talton. Aaron Prendergast, Meath 4-13, Wicklow 1-12.
Oh, what a result for the Meath faithful. No, look, the quickest goal in championship history, although
10 seconds.
I have seen a few people disputing that. Apparently there was an Offaly man who got a goal quicker, but no, look, we'll give them this one. They haven't had much to celebrate recently.
He's like Finian, he knows how to score quick.
Yeah.
No comment.
Never scored.
3 kids later.
For sure. Exactly.
Go on, Aaron.
No, look. I mean, I suppose against Wicklow, like Meath have a habit of scoring goals against Wicklow. Really, I think they scored 7 against them the last time, 4 against them this time around. So,
some team, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know now, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be as praiseful as you are there, John. Don't get me wrong; they have plenty of young talent in there, like Matthew Costello, Cathal Hickey. Like they've plenty of good players, and when you see some of the forwards that they have in Jordan Morris, like they're certainly not
Morris played well yesterday too, yeah.
Yeah, no. So they have good players. It's just, you know, I suppose it's one of them things against. But then again, comparing them to Dublin, I suppose, is very harsh. I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see them in the qualifiers. But obviously, there's just a lot of work to be done there. But they finished the league quite strong. Good win against Wicklow. And look, with Dublin obviously having been on maybe a slight decline this year, maybe that will give them a little bit of confidence. But a comfortable result really against Wicklow. I mean, I don't think anyone was going to expect any different.
In fairness, the scenes after the game, you'd seen the Meath faithful on the pitch look like they won the All Ireland, Finian.
Yeah, there's fierce excitement, all right. But look, they you know, they're under pressure. They're like, Meath is so traditional, and you know, they have a lot of rich history in the last 20, 30 years. You know, obviously the Sean Boylan era and all that sort of stuff, and they've been sitting and looking over the fence at their neighbours cleaning all before them. Do you know what I mean? It's been tough for them, but I saw them in the league against Galway. They were missing 12 or 13 players, and the support cast wasn't hectic at all, really, what they had in. So there's a lot of work to be done in Meath. A lot of footballers in Meath, as Aaron says, but there's a lot of work probably at underage and all that sort of stuff to be done, and they need to be tapping into the obviously people are moving to the commuter belts now, Kildare, you know, Meath and Wicklow. So surely over the next 5-10 years that we'll start to see improvements in population, and see improvements in football has been brought through in Meath. But it was a good win for Meath. They were always going to win, but you know, if they get a hockey in on Sunday, then it's our Sunday week, then it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Meath, because they're going to be in the Sam Maguire as well, and that's going to be, you know, playing a Tyrone or Mayo. I think they absolutely hammer them. So
yeah, congratulations to Meath and win the All Ireland final for 2022.
They win easy on Sunday.
Yeah, Andy McAtee was.
They'll all be coming after you now, John. Be careful.
Yeah, Andy McAtee, God, he was a happy man. Good to see him smiling his face after the game. I tell you how much. Good to see him smiling. And we'll move on to Burnham Motor Park quarter-final time, lads. Kildare 2-22, Louth 12 points. Finian Hanley, a very convincing win for the White of Kildare.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's not the first time they've kicked that. They kicked 24 points, I think, in a league match as well, and a lot of good forwards. Highland, obviously, we speak of Flynn all the time. There's going to be a handful for anyone, but Kildare are a decent team now. They're a decent team. They're strong. Good goalie. They're strong at the back. They're big and powerful around the middle with Feely and those guys. And then there's plenty up front. They can score from all sides. You know, obviously 222 is big shooting. And obviously, you know, people have talked about Louth and their improvements. and people expected them to give them a game. So, and they've been going well. So that's a big win for Kildare to beat Louth by that much, because Louth were actually a team, a form team as well. So, with Mickey Hart. So, big win. Kildare are going places, and they will be a handful for any team this year. Probably including Dublin, I think, in Leinster. I think they'll be a handful. No one will want, like, if I was as a Galway supporter, I would not like to be drawn against Kildare at any stage. They'd worry me this year. Louth, I think I said this last week. Louth is, I'm worried for Louth, and this was it was annoying me really, the fact that they're not in the Tailteann Cup this year. Like, I suppose the worst thing that could beat for Louth is that beating yesterday. To lose by that much.
Takes the wheels fall off the truck fairly handy.
It does. It takes the wind out of their sails. But to go into the Sam Maguire now and maybe draw a big team and maybe, you could get another pace in that, and then your year is over. Do you know what I mean? If they were in the Tailteann Cup, they'd be real contenders.
Yeah.
Which is a pity. So look, that's a problem from their success, that they got into Division 2. So I suppose it's a double-edged sword, but hopefully they'll go out of the championship with a decent performance, because they've had a great year, and obviously Mulroy and Byrne and Grimes have really stepped up as well. So, but look, Kildare move on, and they were very impressive against a good Louth team.
Aaron, and obviously Finian makes a very good point there. Probably the next game they could be playing a big dog, and that could be the end of their season. So really will take the wind out of their sails, and that result at the weekend really kind of blows it off a bit. And obviously Sam Mulroy was shooting the lights out and having a great season up until that. So it really does go to show the championship structure is still flawed, Aaron, no matter what way you look at it.
Yeah, it probably is to some respects, but I suppose you have to give Louth credit at the same time. Like they've earned the stripes to obviously be in the Sam Maguire, and probably is one of them things when you look at some of the teams that have obviously dropped out in terms of Armagh, Mayo, Tyrone. Like the qualifier is probably maybe a little bit stronger than what some people had, I suppose, first expected. But yeah, it's going to be very tough for them, all right. Like, I mean, I do think they can play a lot better than they did. I think they only had 1 or 2 points. I think they kicked 1 point from play in the first half, 4 points in total. They struggled really to get into it. They struggled to get Mulroy on the ball, which is credit really to Kildare's management, Glenn Ryan. They obviously, probably targeted Mulroy and felt like if they can take his influence out of the game, then that's half the battle. So, be a tough one for Louth, all right, going into the qualifiers. I don't know, if you ask Mickey Hart and the Louth players what would they rather go into the Tailteann Cup or the Sam Maguire, I don't really know. It just depends on the draw. Like, I mean, if Meath get beat by Dublin, which they will, we would all expect them to anyway. The famous last words there. You can clip that up if Dublin do get beat. But maybe Louth get Meath, and maybe Louth could come through that. Or if they get Clare, maybe that might be a more competitive game. So it just depends on the draw really. But obviously a tough one to take, because 16 points really against a team that they'll be in the same division as next year probably was quite a heavy defeat, and definitely a lot heavier than people expected anyways.
Yeah, I just don't really know who it's benefiting, but there we go. Finian, you make a good point. The Tailteann Cup would have been fantastic for Louth, but there we go. They're going to be quitting for the Sam Maguire honours this year. So we'll move on to this weekend's action, lads. In the Munster Senior Football Championship semi-final, you have Cork against Kerry in Park Rin at 6 p.m. and it'll be on Sky Sports. Aaron, so much media talk about this game. Where's the game going to be played? It's going to be played in Park Rin. And here we go, 6 p.m. Saturday. Yeah,
it's finally here we are. The week is here. Obviously, Ed Sheeran kind of messed everything up there for a while.
Bad habits, Aaron. Bad habits.
Yeah. All sorts of confusion, really, in terms of, I don't know if that's a song or something that he sings. Yeah. It is it? Yeah. See, I didn't even know that, but I just had a feeling. I was like, that's another one of your sort of silly jokes that you make sometimes that people don't pick up on. But yeah, look, I don't really know what to say about this game really, because I think Kerry are going to win it by double digits. Let's be honest, it's probably going to be 15 plus. The only kind of positive really for Cork is, for whatever reason, a lot of the time they do tend to, other than last year, they do tend to sort of raise their game against Kerry. Like obviously when they beat them 2 years ago, and even the year before when they'd been relegated down to Division 3, they actually gave Kerry quite a good game that year, and it was only 2-3 points in it. So they do tend to raise their game. Maybe would have been in Parky Rin and that sort of Parky Rin or nowhere sort of type mentality, which I suppose, as you'll see, John, it doesn't really work everywhere, because you've seen poor Antrim there. It didn't really quite work out there.
And Aaron, you said to me a few weeks ago I'd be very worried if I was you, so it's worked out okay, has it?
Yeah, but sure, look, you win some, you lose some, so I suppose you tasted a nice victory against Antrim, so I suppose it will give you a bit of confidence now for Donegal. But yeah, look, it'd be interesting, all right. Like, I just think with Kerry, with the options that they have with players coming off the bench as well, like it's just going to be very comprehensive and comfortable, really. And unless Kerry, even if Kerry massively underperformed and underwhelmed and didn't come flying out of traps, you'd still expect Kerry to come through it, because Cork are just in so much disarray, really. Be interested to see, obviously, how Brian Hurley gets on as well, obviously, in this one. So
Stephen Sherlock.
Stephen Sherlock's the other one as well that I was thinking of there. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he gets on going up against that Kerry defence. Cork, they finished with quite a decent attack for a Division 2 team, but yeah, you'd fancy Kerry all day long here.
And Aaron, you tweeted this game could be playing Parky Rin. Stamford Bridge are on the boon, and Kerry still win. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. Well, it's true though, isn't it? Like, it could really be played anywhere, I think, and Kerry would win it quite comfortably. The Kerry Cork rivalry is, maybe it's in fear of it becoming a bit like the Dublin and Meath rivalry of the last couple of years. Thankfully enough, Cork, even though they've been below Kerry's level quite a lot in the last 10 years, they do tend to raise their levels and give a lot more, and they've made the game a lot closer. But yeah, it's Parky Rin, Parky Quave, Kerry win the game,
There we go. Aaron Prendergast saying it as it is. Finian Hanley, your take on events at Parky Rin this weekend. Kerry against the old enemy, Cork.
Yeah, the old enemy is the word there, because them days are gone, I think.
It has been a good game since about 2010, FH.
It's been, yeah, the whole thing is just ridiculous. Like, when you just actually sit back and think about it,
it's got that bad. Daniel Goulding's had to go to Portugal this week on his holidays.
I'd say that. As Aaron was saying there, it could be in Patrick Street in Cork, and they'd beat the unmerciful out of them. Like, they'll beat the unmerciful out of most teams, but like, they'll absolutely obliterate Cork. Cork are, as we said, they're into 5-year, 10-year plan territory. So yeah. So look, there isn't a whole pile to say for Kerry. It's competition for places. Like, you've got a bit of a battle up front between Gainey and Brosnan. There's a couple of battles on the wing where Darren Moynihan give those sort of players that are kind of really battling for place. David Moore, and does he want to get back in around the middle as well? He's coming to the end, so he'd want to feature if he can this year. So there's competition, and that's where the interest for Kerry is in the competition for places, and obviously competition to get on the 26 as well. They're so stacked at the minute with players. You've got the Paddy Clifford thing. Is Shawnee Shea going into centre forward? Are they going to? Paddy Clifford's best position is 11, and he's a fantastic footballer. He'd walk on any team in the country, but he's battling with another serious footballer and a free taker. So that's an interesting one. Or do they move Paddy Clifford somewhere else and maybe move someone out? Maybe. So look, they're the questions that are the answers I'm looking for this weekend. The result isn't worth talking about, but yeah, look, it just goes to show the whole system is flawed. It's crazy that Kerry are walking into an All-Ireland quarterfinal year after year after year. It's nonsense. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Dave Clifford. So,
yeah, I think that's the big.
Yeah, not that the Cork pull back line are, but I certainly am. Yeah, he's a joy to watch.
I suppose the kind of pride of place having a game in Parky Rin and not giving up their stance about having a game there. But Finian, is there absolutely any chance for Cork at all in terms of maybe troubling the Kerry full back line, as Aaron rightly said, the likes of Stephen Sherlock, Brian Hurley up front? Like, is there absolutely any case for the Cork senior footballers this Saturday?
There isn't, John. No, there isn't. There's no case for them. Ian McGuire's injured, I think, as well.
He's injured.
He's their absolute, like, if they want to get a kick out of anything, it's him with a drive and run or a big catch. And he's been, in fairness to him, he's been driving that team through the absolute, he's been in worse conditions than Andy Dufresne. Like, and him missing is just going to leave it a worse situation. I think up front, Brian Hurley was a super footballer, probably past his best now as well. So I just don't see anything. Parky Rin, it'll be nice to see it in Parky Rin. I'm actually looking forward to that because it's a nice compact stadium, and you might get 11,000, a bit of a buzz there, a bit of atmosphere. But sure, look, the Cork County Board is another questionable affair on how it got to this as well. So it's madness down there at the minute, but it won't trouble Kerry. They're having big AVBs this week and last week that are going to be more benefit to them.
Yeah, geez, that's a great line about Dufresne. I'll have to rob that now in the future. Brilliant stuff. Aaron Prendergast, can you make any case for the Cork senior footballers sponsored by Chill Insurance this weekend? Sports Direct, sorry.
Yeah, you need to be careful there. Maybe Sports Direct will be after you. Mike Ashley will be hunting you down there.
he wouldn't mind a holiday in Cavan, in fairness.
Maybe he could. Maybe he hunt you down or something.
Any case for the Cork footballers, big man? No.
No, not really, to be honest. I hope so. Like, I'll be watching the game. Like, I really hope it is close, and you can
on your Sky's description. I hope.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, sure. How else would you get it, John? You know what I mean? Like, but no, look, like as a Dublin fan, obviously, and as a neutral, you want to see a competitive game. You want to see it be a close game. But I just don't see it really. I think it's going to be very comfortable. It threatens to be very bad. Like, it threatens to be 20 plus. Like, let's be perfectly honest. I don't know if Kerry will go full tilt. Maybe they might save their legs a little bit for further down the line. But then again, they'll want to be sharp and razor focused by the time those All-Ireland quarter-final comes around, and they only have 2 games, I suppose, as opposed to some other counties with 3 or 4 games. So I think it's going to be very comfortable. Like, let's be honest.
David Clifford, looking forward to seeing him.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he was obviously at the hurling there a couple of weeks ago, so I'm sure even he's getting bored with the fact that there's not many games for Kerry to play. The fact that he's in Limerick watching them play Cork, but I suppose he goes to college in Limerick, so that's he probably knows a few.
He goes to college. I'd say he does.
He could actually play for the Kerry Hurlers the day before. I'd say.
Yeah, he probably could. Yeah, probably could. No, knowing him, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, lads, it's so unfortunate. Like, I think, Aaron, we probably touched on this before. I know you've done great rivalries of the GAA in the last couple of years, but like, joking aside, lads, and like all the crack coming into it, it is such a pity that rivalry, let's not beat around the bush, has gone to shit, Finian.
Yeah, it is. Jesus, it is. Like, I suppose I look at my own and it's hanging in there. Our own here with Mayo, it's been decent the last number of years. We've had, good games. There's good banter, like this year, no one really people expected Mayo to win, but there was still that inkling that Galway had a chance and obviously turned them over, and we have done over the last couple of years. It's been tit for tat, you know what I mean? And even through the 2000s, we'd win 1 or 2 and then lose 1 or 2, so that rivalry has hung in there. But the Cork and Kerry and the Dublin Meath, it's just sad to see it. They were brilliant games throughout the 90s, 80s, 90s. Like, it was just, the hate, I won't say the hate, but the fans loved coming up to Páirc Uí Chaoimh and going down to Killarney. Great colour, great buzz. Like, there should be 30,000 people at these games all the time with a real buzz and real excitement.
Buying hot dogs.
Exactly, yeah. And, the summer days and all that, but they're just well and truly dead now, which is sad to see. And I think that nostalgia is with the provincial championships. They're hoping that they might come back or whatever it is, but it's going to be very difficult. I just think we just need to let it go and move away from it. And it's unfortunate because they were brilliant. They were brilliant times. But look, times move on and things change. So, Cork are where they are. They're just in the doldrums because they're the different sports in Cork. There's a lot of soccer. There's a lot of rugby. There's all sorts. There's hurling. They're a massive hurling county. So there's all sorts. There's kind of like Galway. Really, there's a lot going on. And all the focus isn't on football where it is in Kerry, So that's difficult for them as well. So look, it's a pity it's gone, but as I said, times move on, and Kerry are just way too strong for them now,
Aaron, your opinion on the rivalry between Cork and Kerry?
Yeah, well, I suppose Finian's hit the nail on the head there. Really, like it is a bit like the Dublin and Meath rivalry. Really, like, and I remember as a kid, like when you were going to Dublin and Meath games, you'd get excited by them going to Croke Park and 2006, 2007, and the abuse and all the rest, and being thrown at different angles, different players, and everything else. And even
Graham Geraghty.
Yeah, well, he was certainly one of them anyway. Anyway,
One player.
Yeah, but that was the thing. But the reason why the abuse was going out there was because they were great players. They were great footballers. You know what I mean? And you feared Meath. When Dublin were playing Meath, you're like, oh, we might get beat here, and we might lose this one. And even after 2010, like I remember when 2011 and 2012 was coming around, you're kind of looking at the draw for Leinster and thinking, are we going to get Meath at any stage, because you want to get that revenge? Where as in the last 5-6 years, there's just nothing there. When you're at the games, it feels like you're at a game of tennis, really. Do you know what I mean? Because no one's chanting at, no one's singing at, and it's just dead atmosphere. No one, you can hear people speaking to each other. You can hear someone's phone go off in the background. do you know what I mean? Like, you really, really can. So, and if the Kerry Cork rivalry,
I could say clear a few other things.
yeah. But thankfully enough, the Kerry Cork rivalry hasn't gotten as bad as that, because Cork have kind of elevated a little bit, and Kerry were sort of in a little transition there, 2018, 2017 or whatever. But it does threaten to be like that over the next, like when you look at Kerry Cork last year, when you look at the direction that both counties are going at in the next 3-4 years, like it does threaten to get like that. And that's a worry, because even as a Dublin fan now, like I like when we play Meath, obviously, and when we beat them, but at the same time, you want to see a competitiveness. And when Dublin play Meath in a couple of weeks' time, I hope it is a close game. I obviously hope Dublin win, but you want there to be rivalries there. Otherwise, it kind of, it just gets meaningless, really.
Yeah, the atmosphere, Aaron, just on that point, like the atmosphere in a lot of the games we've seen today, it's been very poor. Like a lot of all the terrorists, the terrorists,
probably them too, yeah.
Yeah, them too. They're even getting bored of the terraces are empty, and behind the goals, the cameras are, you know what I mean? Like it's really kind of like a wet rugby league match between the bottom two teams in England or whatever it is. It just, there's no atmosphere. You could hear it. Rory Gallagher was the big talking point in Derry, because there was just no buzz or atmosphere. I don't know, like how do we create that again? And obviously rivalries and all that sort of stuff, and teams. Like if people had known Clare and Limerick was going to be so tight or whatever it is, because they're very tight knit. So I suppose the argument goes back to these counties voting against changing the structure. But like if Galway are playing Roscommon, and then next week they're playing Mayo, and then next week they're playing Donegal, like you will have that atmosphere. You'll be able to really get buzz into the stadiums. There's no bars in the stadiums. You can't get a drink. Like it's.
First world problems, Finian.
It is
like war going on over in Ukraine, and
yeah. Well, I suppose, look, on a serious note, I think in Galway, if you come to Galway, right, just on a side note, if you come to Galway and you come to Connacht Rugby, you go up there, you have a beer, the place is packed all the time. They market it so well. I just think the GA aren't doing it. Like, look at 20,000 in Pearse Stadium yesterday, and a really good game, bit of atmosphere. It took ages to get going, you know what I mean? Because it's not really buzzy. But anyhow, look, you need the rivalries and you need all that to get that buzz back. But the GA have serious work to do, because people are voting with their feet. They're just not going,
I think when it's on the TV as well, I think that takes a lot of the fans away. And I know Conor McKenna, our fellow pundit, was kind of remarking on the tickets. I think it was €25 into like the Westmeath and Longford game at the weekend, lads. So Kevin, made a good point, getting maybe the games over to Australia, America. That could maybe promote the game a bit better. But lads, is it on the floor to a degree, Finian?
Yeah, it is. It is. I suppose it's. There's a lot of tactics. Obviously sport moves on, and Gaelic football is no different. So it's very tactical now. There's
the wrong games are being shown on TV too. Like it's, as you said,
100%. I agree with that. You know, look, I think if you do one thing and you change the structure, it will all start following suit, because whatever games you put on the TV will be tight because they're playing against one of Wexford versus Dublin. For God's sake, like whatever, you know, it shouldn't be the case that people have to realise there was a podcast last year with that Leinster secretary, like, I don't know what podcast it was or whatever it was.
Off the ball,
Christ on a bike, like how, like Jesus Christ, like, is this guy, I don't know where the thinking is, but they just have to, like, my own county voted for the provincial championships, like, and the people voting in my own county board, like, shouldn't be next nor near a vote, for God's sake, like, and that's the issue. The players want to change, but again, if something like that changes, then the whole thing starts to change, starts to be marketed a bit more. You'll have more games, you'll have tickets probably down a little bit, people will start to go. It just is, you know, one change can make a huge difference. So hopefully it happens. It is on the floor a bit, John. It's been boring so far. It's, you know, nothing inspires you to sit down and watch these games. I find myself getting up after 40 minutes and going, you know, good luck to this. Like, you know,
and where'd you go instead? When you get fed up, where'd you go?
I go up and watch Championship Soccer or something. I watch Sheffield Wednesday versus Nottingham Forest or something like that. Yeah, well, I'll do that as well. But you know, at least there's a bit of buzz around the soccer, you know, at times, because there's relegation and there's all that sort of stuff. Like Everton yesterday, I watched all that game.
Brilliant.
Most of it, like, it was just they had to win and there was a bit of buzz around it. So like, we need to get that into GAA as well, you know, because these inevitable hammerings are doing no one any good.
Yeah, like the Kilkenny-Galway hurling match was absolutely unbelievable. Like, and I was looking at the scoreboard after 10 minutes, it's like 1-6-7, lads. So I know hurling is different gravy, but yeah, lads, the football needs a bit of a shake-up. And talking about shake-ups, this could save the championship this weekend, lads. On Sunday in the Ulster Senior Football Championship semi-final, Donegal against Cavan in Clonus at 4 p.m. on RT2. Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll be there anyway with your Cavan flag and your Cavan jersey, all the rest, and I'm sure Mickey Graham and the Cavan men will want to emulate, I suppose, what they done a couple of years ago when you beat Donegal. But look, hopefully anyway, this is a competitive game. Jesus, like, we're really relying on Cavan here, John.
As usual.
To save the weekend.
Give us something here, John. Give us something. Save it.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise we'll end up watching, I don't know, Burton Albion against Scunthorpe or something. Do you know what I mean?
Or the Kardashians.
Not a bad second option. Well, I know, maybe for that entertainment, but okay. Go on about that game. Jesus, Finian.
Oh, yeah, you're digging yourself into a hole there, John.
Aaron, dig me out of a hole. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. I know. Look, I think it's a weird one, like with Cavan. I think even though I backed Antrim to beat Cavan, which was certainly you know, the worst prediction you could probably ever make.
You should probably pack the podcast in hour and after.
Probably should, yeah. Maybe I should just retire while I can. Do you know what I mean? Even got the saffron yellow colour out as well to try and make up for it. But no, look, I do think Cavan will give Donegal a good run for their money, because I don't see Donegal putting Cavan away. Like, a lot of these Ulster Championship games tend to, even though a lot of them this year have actually kind of been quite one-sided, I do have a funny feeling this one will be a lot closer, really. And I think with Cavan, it's just really about sticking in the game, obviously, as well, not letting Donegal pull too much away, not allowing Murphy too much time on the ball. And I suppose for Cavan as well, like, he's seen against Antrim in the first half, like, they missed so many chances. Like, it was 6 points to 5 at half time.
Bad wind, apparently, in the first half.
Yeah, I don't know about. Well, maybe, yeah, fair enough. But
that's the word in the streets. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, but still though, like, even the goal chances as well that they missed as well. Like, there just need to be a bit more clinical. Like, you can't afford to have that many wides against Donegal, you know, because Donegal will punish you. But I would still expect Donegal to come through with, you know, obviously Michael Murphy back fully fit now, doing his thing obviously as well. Paddy McBrearty, I don't know who you know what your thinking would be of who's going to go up against him, who's going to pick him up in the game. That'll certainly be an interesting one. Jason
McLaughlin, the ever reliable Jason. And it's funny with Jason, like, Jason's been on the Cavan panel since about 2011, so he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He marked the gooch in 2013 as well, like, so him potentially, Aaron.
Yeah, I suppose McKernan as well, like Rob McKernan, like, obviously, you know, when you look at the physical size of him, like, he's one of those players that could probably go into the Donegal team probably and play very, very well. Do you know what I mean? So be interesting to see who stops him. You'll need Paddy Lynch obviously to be at the best. But look, I think Cavan will stick in the game because they against some of the top quality opposition, they do tend to actually give good performances. They done that obviously in 2020 when we seen them against obviously when they beat
Dublin.
Donegal. Not so much against Dublin. No, I think that was probably out of your reach. I think the Cavan lads were already in the pub at that stage anyway. But like even when you go back, like even against Monaghan, for example, you stayed in that game. Do you know what I mean? So I think you'll stay in it quite closely. But I could still see Donegal, especially with what happened in 2020. I think they should have their heads screwed on for this one, and they should come through it comfortably enough. But I'm really hoping anyway, John, that your Cavan men can save the weekend.
We will see, Aaron. I suppose on that as well, like it's probably not the strongest Donegal we've seen in the last couple of years. I know Ryan McHugh is doing well, Paddy McBride, Michael Murphy, but the spine of the team, like they've obviously lost lads, and Aaron McNeilis, I don't think he's committed this year as well, Aaron. So there's not a whole pile of fear. Like I know Michael Murphy is a superb player, but we really should kind of go in with quiet confidence.
Yeah, I think you should. Like, I mean, it's certainly not the Donegal of
2014.
Peak Jim McGuinness and around that time period. And obviously, when you seen them in 2019, I think a lot of people were thinking Donegal were probably maybe the team that could, be closest to Dublin in 2020. I mean, some people were thinking that as well when they comfortably got past Armagh. Like they're a strange team as well, like the way they play at times as well, and they're just not very convincing on the eye. You watch them throughout the league a lot of the time. Like they should have put away Mayo comfortably, they didn't. They had a lot of chances against Dublin that day, didn't take them. A lot of very good players, but they don't put teams away maybe as convincingly as they should do. I know they were comfortable enough against Armagh, but I think Armagh were just very bad that day. So, as you said there, the fear factor definitely isn't there. And as you said, like these Cavan lads, a lot of them would have been beating Donegal at underage level and obviously beat Donegal in 2020 as well. So they certainly won't fear them at all,
Good point. And Finney and Hanley, what are your thoughts ahead of Breffni Blue travelling down to Clonus on Sunday?
Yeah, it's no look. As Aaron says there, I hope it's a good game. I hope it's obviously it'd be cagey to start. I think Cavan will start quite cagey. I know they've been working on a bit of defensive kind of structures and stuff like that over the last number of weeks down in Cork and stuff like that. But
tell me more. I didn't hear that.
If it was look, you're not up with your Cavan. You're not following the Cavan sat nav then, John, are you?
Tell me more. We'll talk for that on WhatsApp.
But no, look. If it was 15 on, if it was just straight 15 on 15, some of the matchups here should be really, really good. McKiernan and Hugh McFadden out around the middle. Two really big physical guys. Obviously, Paddy Lynch and Brendan McCall, who's going really, really well at full back. It'd be interesting to see Paddy Lynch on Sunday, like Rian O'Neill, Sam Mulroy. We spoke about these
first proper test.
Yeah, we spoke about these forwards who've stood up big time in the league, and those two didn't go well in the championship. This is first big test for that guy. He kicked 7 points, I think, against Antrim. But this is a huge test. Like McCall has gone well. Donegal will be well set up. Obviously, Michael Murphy, Park Faulkner might pick him up, I'd say.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
And Jess McLaughlin on McBurdy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and young Quinton Fortune, I was calling him. Was it Luke Fortune?
Which was Quinton? Luke Fortune, yeah, he'll be picking up. I don't know. I must look at the Donegal team sheet.
Yeah, so look. It has the makings. If you put the matchups down on paper, it's the makings of a really, really good game. But I just think systemly, or the system that Donegal will have, they'll be well drilled. They'll have runners from everywhere. Obviously, their half back line, in Mogan and McMenamin, McHugh. They'll be strong around the middle. They'll be able to shoot from all sides, and then up front with Brennan and McBearty and Murphy. And the O'Donnells, I just think they're strong this year. Donegal. I know Aaron was saying there that they're not the Donegal of 14, but they're not the Donegal of 17 or 18 either. As in, they're not there. They're way stronger than they were. We played them back in 17, and absolutely when this team was just starting. So this team is on now that couple of years, and they're a bit more experienced. So I think Donegal will win by 5 or 6 on Sunday. I hope it's a tight game. I hope there's good physicality in it, like a good proper Ulster Championship semi-final. But I unfortunately, John, I would be giving the nod to the boys from Donegal on Sunday.
I know. It'll be a big test for Mickey Graham, no doubt. It'll be a massive test for all the lads. And if Cavan maybe are to try, maybe like I suppose get it Donegal and Armagh, I know didn't really put up much of a fight. Like what are we talking, Finian? Like if they are to try get it Donegal.
Yeah, look, I suppose they'll have to, flood the middle, try and get in around that breaking ball, flood. Donegal are strong out around the middle. From particularly on longer kickouts. I think they're, if they can get enough possession out around there, they'll certainly cause Donegal trouble. They've got good players going forward, but I think if Cavan get a decent defensive system, they can tie up Murphy, tie up McBrearty. With numbers, maybe a couple of sweepers and things like that. I think that might frustrate Donegal, because we saw what happened a couple of years ago. Donegal just can get frustrated. They're a little bit of an impatient team. I think more than I think there's more patience in the likes of a Tyrone and obviously Dublin and Kerry. But I think Donegal, they go at a million miles an hour, and some of their players are so quick that if you can set up defensively, they're not overly gone on playing against that. So I think what Cavan need to do is they need to, drop bodies back, play with one or two up front, and see can they get on the counter attack. Similar, maybe not as extreme to what Rory Gallagher did, but a little bit similar.
There we go. So yeah, no, it's going to be a huge ask, and we will wait and see how Sunday goes. And moving on to the Connacht Senior Football Championship semi-final, Galway against Leitrim, Pearse Stadium, 3:30. Finian Hanley, hold back your excitement, big man.
I suppose, yeah. Look, it's as I said earlier.
Will you go to it?
It's good time. I will, of course. Yeah, I will, of course.
Get in free, big man.
Yeah, right. Get in free. I'll pay. That's something that doesn't come. Those words don't come into the GA, no matter who or what or where, John. So, no, look, it's another big game for Galway. Obviously, we should be beating Leitrim and beating them comfortably. I think the interesting thing for Sunday for ourselves is how we set up. Do we keep what worked for us well last week and try and fine tune that, which I think we should, because we'd be reverting to that probably for a Connacht final and beyond against bigger teams. So I think it's a good opportunity to fine tune that, maybe get some airtime for a few of the boys, the subs, maybe make one or two changes, give one or two lads a run and try and improve the panel. But yeah, look, we should be beating Leitrim comfortably. Leitrim, Andy Moran's doing good work on there, but I just think they struggled over in London, and Leitrim's always a struggle. My own club is as big as the population in Leitrim. It's always going to be tough down there, and as I said before, playing against the Galway is going to be very tough. We've had some tough games against Leitrim down in Leitrim and in Galway over the years, so they'll always be up for the fight. They'll always give everything, they get in your face. But I think at Pearse Stadium, Galway team on the back of a Mayo win, I think it shouldn't be a problem. But it'll be interesting to see how we set up. That's the most interesting part for me.
Galway's favourite son, Andy Moran, coming to Galway. Finian, is the reception going to be good?
Yeah, the love-hate relationship with Andy. But no, look, he's done a fine job down there. I suppose the best compliment you can give Andy is that he took the job. And same Sligo, these counties, they're tough stations. Like what is the achievement or what is the ambition of when you start out? Where
goes towards a nice holiday.
Yeah, exactly. But where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with it? And what, when you sit down at the start of the year, you're going to hopefully get over London and you want to get to a Connacht semi-final. And what is good for Andy on Sunday? Is it a respectable loss, or how is he going to set up himself? I'm sure they'll be quite defensive. So, but yeah, look, Galway should be way too strong for Leitrim. But in fairness to Andy, he's taken the job, and he's obviously got a plan for Leitrim. He'll have a plan on Sunday, but I just don't think it'll work. I think the pitch is too big in Salt Hill for 70 minutes of whatever they come up with.
And what pubs would you recommend the Leitrim lads go to on Sunday night, Finian?
O'Connor's in Salt Hill would be good enough for them, yeah. I don't think there'll be too many supporters in Salt Hill on Sunday. I think
there will be.
The quiet days, yeah. I think the likes of a Leitrim game, people will be waiting. We've got Dublin then the following week in the hurling, and we've Roscommon hopefully then in the Connacht final the week after that. So the good times are back in Salt Hill. We'll have the air show and the Harp Lager Festival back next. It'll be like the 90s. Yeah. So look, it's great because you want to be going to these games, and the home games are great. So when there's good buzz around, as I said, it's brilliant. You know, there's great buzz yesterday. Hopefully, there's a crowd on Sunday, and hopefully we get a good performance. That's what I want to see: a good performance and something that's sustainable going into the rest of the championship.
There we go. Aaron Prendergast, Leitrim against Galway this Sunday in Galway.
Podcast. And of course, this podcast.
Yeah, no, as Finina said there, I mean, exciting stuff, obviously, for both sets of supporters and for everyone across the country. I mean, this should definitely be a very exciting game. I don't know, but look, I mean, I don't really know what I can add to that, really. I think Finian's kind of covered everything almost there. I mean, you'd expect Galway to win, obviously, with the players that they have, and this is probably just another one of those games that you kind of get in the All-Ireland Championship, like a lot of other games where you sort of look at it and think, yeah, you know, it's you know the result before a ball.
But are we expecting like a Mayo Leitrim similar Terry Highland along the line?
To be honest, I don't know. Like I would hope not. I think Leitrim have definitely improved quite a lot this year. Like when you look at the work that Andy Moran's done, and obviously the players that he's brought back in, and Emlyn Mulligan, Ryan O'Rourke's back playing now as well, and Tom Pryor looks like a good player. Like I think Leitrim have plenty of good players. Like I seen at under 20 level, they were very close there to beating sort of Galway or Mayo. I think in the under 20 Connacht semi-finals. There was only a point in it. I think it was Mayo. I think they played in the semi-final. There was only a point in it. So Leitrim could have won that game. So they do have good players coming through. It's just one of them things where they're just not, you know, it's a hard one to know. Just Galway are just quite a good bit above, and if Galway are really at it, like you would expect it to be probably double digits. Let's be honest. Like Roscommon, from what I've heard, weren't at their brilliant best against Sligo, but yet still won the game by 12 points. So you would expect something similar against this Leitrim team, but and especially would it being at Pearse Stadium, would it been at home as well. But look, Leitrim are improving, and I don't think it's the be all and the end all if they do lose by 10, 12 points. I mean, they'll be looking towards the Tailteann Cup, and they're certainly a better run county than a lot of other counties in the country. So it shouldn't be as bad as what it was last year, but we'll wait and see what happens.
And if Leitrim are to try and get over the line this Sunday against Galway, Aaron, what do they need to do?
Oh Jesus, I don't know. Maybe park the coat. You know, I don't know. Maybe try and block the road or something on the way to Pearse Stadium or something like that. Or, geez, I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I remember I think it was a good few years ago when Tottenham were trying to get into the Champions League, and all their players kind of miraculously came down with food poisoning just you know, a couple of hours before kickoff. You know, I certainly wouldn't advise anyone to do that, but I don't know, like
that goal with defense or the midfield or
yeah no look, I mean, Galway, like, they did have a couple of defensive issues throughout the league, but you've seen clearly that they clearly did improve as the league went on, and you know, they
haven't had a good full back since 2017.
Fair. No, look, I don't think it's about winning the game for Leitrim, though. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just about trying to be somewhat competitive and then focusing on the Tailteann Cup, you know?
There we go, lads. There we go. I'm expecting a similar game like the Mayo game last year, lads, but we'll wait and see. I suppose, lastly on it, lads, Aaron Prendergast, your bet of the weekend and player to watch.
Yeah, bet of the weekend's very tough, I suppose, when you look at the three games. I'd probably recommend to keep your money in your pockets this weekend, to be perfectly honest. But if you were to place a bet, maybe you'd go with Cavan to sneak it against Donegal, or maybe a draw. You know, maybe that one going to extra time.
Penalties. I'll come on and take one.
Yeah, be like the Clare footballers then at the weekend, missing all them. But no, look, yeah, you'd probably go with Cavan if you were to pick a bet. I'm certainly not a betting man. Maybe there's a special bet you could do with specific players scoring at specific times. I don't know, but yeah, that'd be my bet of the weekend. So yeah.
What about your player to watch, big man?
Player to watch. Ooh, that's a tough one. I suppose maybe Paddy Lynch going up against that Donegal defence. As Finian was saying there, like with Samuel Roy, Rian O'Neill, like we've seen a lot of top class footballers coming through. You like to see how they get on against the best. So that will certainly be one matchup worth seeing anyway. So yeah, I'd say Paddy Lynch.
Finian Hanley in Galway. Me and Clonus Aaron, who's going to be the person to watch this weekend?
Yeah.
Aaron. No. That was mixed up. Yeah.
I heard both names there, so I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was going on. You've confused us all.
It was a joke. Finian Hanley, your player to watch this weekend, and bet off the weekend.
Bet of the weekend, yeah. Look, I'm with Aaron on it. It's I certainly wouldn't be recommending going to the bookies on any of those games. But if I was to make a bet, it would probably be Cavan on the plus. Not sure what the betting is, but it might be tighter than we think. I think Donegal might stutter a little bit, but it might be 2 or 3 points in it. I don't know, but yeah.
There's no value, lads. Really, yeah.
There's no value. No, there's no value. Look, like, can you do minus 50 for for Kerry or whatever it is? It's hard to look. A player to watch. Yeah, look, I suppose in my own house, I think the likes of Damien Comer. Be interesting to see. Is he going, like, he should be opening up his shoulders now against Leitrim on Sunday, and kicking on. I suppose the worst thing, particularly for confidence, and we see this in Galway a lot, where we go into a game and you could have a quiet game this week after a really good game against Mayo. So like, Damien needs to be in the top 3 performers, I think, on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to seeing Damien explode against Leitrim. Kick 1-2, 1-3, 1-4. So yeah, and obviously, as I said before, Paddy Lynch. I'm interested to see how he gets on against Brendan McCole on Sunday in Clonus. I think that's an interesting. He's an interesting footballer. I think he's a very good footballer. A footballer that Cavan haven't had. A really good focal point since the likes of Keane Mackey and those boys. So I'd be interested to see how he gets on. Yeah. So they're my players to watch.
Yeah, like that, lads. There's probably not a lot of value, but look, I'll stick the neck in the line. I'll go us to beat Donegal and Shane Walsh, player to watch this weekend. But look, lads, 3 games. It's hard to get much value, but we'll wait and see how this weekend goes, lads. 3 mouth-watering games to look forward to. Aaron, Finian, thanks a million for joining me this week. And of course, this podcast is brought to you by orgarich.com and Atak.ie. Use the promo code JMac podcast to get 15% off on orgarich.com and get the best skins, gloves, equipment on Atak.ie. Be attack-minded. And for like what we were saying, like, subscribe on YouTube. Sport's been absolutely brilliant so far. Finian Hanley, Aaron Barr, thank you very much.
Yeah, top man, John. Appreciate it.